Greetings, family, and welcome to another episode of Cultivate Life. I am so excited to bring this topic to you today about our men and healing our men and our community so we can have better lives, better families, and just an overall better existence. So I'm going to bring our special guest on. You be sure to share out that link, and we will be right back. All right, family, and we are back with our guest, Edouard Gilles, better known as the Holistic Motivator. How are you today?
Every day for me is like a mission, and like the character in the movie, I find myself waking up like that. So I feel like I'm blessed to be able to be part of the movie that God created, which is me and everyone else who makes a big part of that movie. And that's what keeps me going every day.
That's just like a blessing to wake up and feel like that. So that's amazing. So tell our viewers who you are, what you do. Just give us a little bit of a rundown.
Okay, so my name is the Holistic Motivator. My name is Edouard Gilles, aka the Holistic Motivator. I officially changed my name. I was hearing a story of how when you're born African, you're given a name based on the day you were born. So whether it's Friday, Thursday, or Monday, you're given a name based on the day you was born. And up until your personality develops, and then it is then determined what your name is going to be based on the character you've built. So first name, you get it when you are born by the day. Second name, you get it when you develop and become based on your personality. And then the third one is when you choose your name. So I chose the name Holistic Motivator. My birth name is Edward, which means guardian of wealth, because I realized that I possess an abundance inside of me, which means I'm wealthy not because of what I have, but because of who I am and because of what I can share of who I am. So the Holistic Motivator, what is that about? It's about noticing that you're not just a body, you're 3 in 1. You're animal, divine, and you're a spirit. So you must also understand that, hey, I can't just limit myself. So I stopped limiting myself, I'd say 3 years ago. 5 years ago, I started on the journey. 3 years ago, I stopped limiting myself. I used to want to do everything I'm doing now. I wanted to indulge in holistic healing, how to breathe, how to meditate, how to exercise, how to eat right, how to build a business and build a brand and do all of these things and speak on stages and touch the world and add value to them. I didn't believe I can do these things, I'd say just 3 years ago, the way that I believe it now. 5 years ago, I started a mobile personal training company, and I was just training people at their house. And I realized that the more I kept working people out physically, they can lose some weight, but will they really keep the weight off, and will they adopt a lifestyle that's going to help them be healthy? And I was like, yo, the fitness training is cool, but people need that mind development. They need that spiritual connection, as well as they need to learn also how to direct and how to let their emotions communicate to them so they can make the right decisions. So that's when I realized just fitness is not going to do it. You need fitness of the mind and soul. So I sought out different ways to learn how to meditate. So I learned something called medical qigong. And then I sought out different ways to learn how to think better. So I read a bunch of books. Somebody said, how are you thinking like this? How are you communicating like this? I'm like, yo, I studied enough books so I can see. So that's what really helped me be able to do what I'm doing now as a holistic health coach and speaker. And I just pretty much, my mission in life, and I said this in college, is to inspire people to take a holistic approach to life by achieving a whole mind, body, and nutrition. That's what I used to say. Now I say to take a holistic approach, which is more than mind, body, nutrition, but it's mind, body, spirit. And that's what I do now. And that's why I'm here.
Awesome. Well, okay. And I think you have a wonderful journey and a wonderful story. So if you would like to share a little bit, I mean, we informally met each other a few years ago while you were a student of Dr. Love doing the qigong. So just like you said, having your transformation, being able to now, hey, this is what I want to do in my life. And now I'm manifesting it, and just, being a student a few years ago, like that's amazing to me. So if you want to share, because I know you've had other parts of your journey coming over here as a child and then battling, homelessness and just different things of that nature, just share a little about your journey, and then we'll get into like the transformation process.
Okay. The journey, like I said, life is a movie, and nothing is really working against you, but it's working for you to develop you, to grow you, so you could be different and see things different and have a different paradigm. So a lot of times what we think is blurring our vision is just readjusting our lens. What we think is blurring our vision is just readjusting our lens, which is our paradigm, our viewpoint, our ability to capture light and turn that light into and store it, and then be able to play it back later, and so people could listen to that. So that's what experiences of my life is about. So I'm replaying everything back to you as lessons. And so you're like, okay, what happened? What happened? How did you grow? Well, first of all, you can say I'm an immigrant, right? So I'm actually a citizen, but you can say I'm an immigrant because I came from another country and I came here to the U.S. to seek a better life. And I was given the opportunity by my parents, and I'm grateful for that, to be able to be here. So when I came here, I was like, yo, I have an opportunity. Plus, I have a chip on my shoulder because I'm a Haitian black male here in the U.S. And you're trying to figure out, what am I going to do? How am I going to navigate? And people are like, yo, you're from the Zo boat. You're Zo Haitian, So you getting teased and you're thinking, yo, this is bad. And you're starting to have low self-esteem because you're getting teased. So you want to figure out, how do I make myself more attractive, but you're not really thinking it in that sense, but you're like, how do I make them like me? So you find different ways to be attractive. So as a male, you want to buy some clothes. You buy yourself some nice clothes, some nice shoes. I used to budget my $5 a day. What they call that, when they give you $5 a day, it's your allowance, on $5 a day allowance, budgeting that, saying, yo, I'm gonna rock the next polo deal. They used to call me Polo Ed, right? And I'm having a tie competition with my math teacher, so I had the pretty boy swag. So what we try to do to fit in, and we try to wear the clothes. One of my outlets was sports, which that changed my life forever. So I was just listening to Sadhguru earlier, and he said people would come to him with anxiety, depression, what they call ADHD, ADD, and all he would do is tell them to do an art like music and then do a sport, and they will get better over a few months. They'll be more determined. They have a purpose in life. They're actually moving their blood. Their lymphatic system is operating. Inflammation is diminishing. So they're actually getting so much better. So as a kid, I got blessed to be put in sports. You know, you're a black male in America. You know, what do they say? You go to the grave, the league, or the cell. Those are limiting beliefs. I don't believe those, but those are the cliches that they've said. And they're like, either you go to jail, you go to the graveyard, or you go to the NBA. And my dream was to be in the NBA, right? So every day I was on the court, I was on the track, I was running. So sports was my outlet, because as an immigrant, how do you show them like, yo, I'm not just up to par, but I'm not saying I'm better than you, but I'm saying my grind, you can't compare my grind, right? You can't compare to the level of consistency and determination that I put towards the craft. So I'm going in school, I'm thinking in a way, yo, I'm going to be the best. You know, I'm going to be the best academically. I'm going to be the best in sports. I'm going to be the best, whatever way, the best that I can be. So I had a holistic approach as a kid, because I was budgeting and doing all of these things. Like I told you, I had a ledger with $5, saving them and stuff like that. And then just using that to make investments. And, you know, I'm not going to tell you a whole bunch of everything, but I do remember all of those habits becoming a lot of the stones that set the foundation for everything I was doing. So like selling chips in middle school and budgeting the money allowed me to sell patties in high school, to budget the money, to buy my first camera, to start a company. And then I got into business competition. So then I learned how to start businesses. So that's what got me in entrepreneurship. So it was like, started from a young kid in Haiti. I came here to say, how can I fit in? Then I realized, yo, I'm trying to put clothes on. I stand out with my tie and my nice cardigans and my polo gear. But I needed to stand in, and I need to be more powerful within. So I was spending time at the library, time at the track. Anybody watching this who went to North Miami, they're going to tell you I was always running, right? You ask anybody from ninth grade to up to now who know me, they're going to say, yo, he's been running, not just on the track, but in his life. Why? Because that was just a consistent thing. And I said all of that to say was I redirected an energy from, yo, I don't fit in, they don't like me, I'm not enough, to making it a ambition, a drive to work on goals and set to be, you know, like that's how I became scholar athlete senior year. Like that's why I became MVP for track senior year. That's how I played 7 sports in high school. It was because I was using my place of like not belonging to find something to belong in. And I thought that was a message that I wanted to share with anybody who are athletes, who did something in the beginning of their school. All that stuff is a stepping stone, is a something you store up that you can use now. So that's a part of my story from the early on age. I don't want to keep talking if you want to ask any questions.
Well, I want to get into, because like you said, for so many men in our community, is, you know, you go to the sports, right? Or you know, go to jail or you die. So it's like, you know, it's a paradigm shift. And I see you having that paradigm shift. So we talked about your younger years in school and how you just kind of used your mindset and your drive. But then I want you to talk about now when you're older, because when you go to your website, you say how Tai Chi and these different holistic methods helps you now to transform from being in a situation where, okay, you experienced homeless, you're falling into maybe these designs that, you know, are designed to fail, but then you were able to transform that from that aspect. So if you could share a little bit about that, I think that would be awesome.
Was I able to transform them, or did they transform me, is a question I always ask myself. And I think it's part I was able to transform, and it transformed me, and I and it may be the same thing. So I'm gonna let you munch on that philosophical thought. But I was just an athlete. right? I knew I could use my body. And one day I was definitely, my mind was very active. I had ideas and I was using my mind a lot. And I was like, I can be a personal trainer. Like, I had an option. And how did I think of that? I had that option because when I was in the hood, before I went to Boca for school, and like I'm in the hood, and you're seeing what you always see. You see what the jobs people have. You don't see people with like certain lifestyles and doing certain things on a Tuesday. When I went to Boca for school one year, and then I saw how they was living up there, and like how the different job descriptions or what people was doing, like people was making a living off of like having a yoga studio, a juicing spot, and there was fitness trainers, celebrity trainers. So exposure was big.
Right.
So when I got a different exposure, when my lens started to see better, my camera, the picture was adjusting much better. So there was more exposure. See, my exposure is changing now. You see, like the background is changing because I'm moving. Now, if I stay right here, the camera can adjust up until it gets the right exposure. Like if I stay still, it's gonna adjust till it gets the right exposure. But as soon as I move, it tries to readjust. So as soon as you move, you think, yo, I'm gonna be in the dark, but no, your life is gonna readjust. It just takes a little bit of time, right? So this is like a readjustment period, and also a redirection process, right? So different setbacks are redirection. So you're like, how did you stumble upon meditation? Well, I was stressed, anxious, I was worried about my future, and I was uncertain of what is to come. I'm a stressed, worried, anxious, and uncertain. I'm in college. I have to pay my tuition. I lost my scholarships because one thing they don't tell you about when you're in high school and you're a black male in high school going to transition to college, they don't necessarily tell you that there's going to be a lifestyle shift, adjustment that you might just start doing things you would normally do. They don't necessarily give you that advice or tell you, yo, how do you budget for college or how do you budget in college? Even though I knew, but I got lost in the sauce. So I started doing things like partying too much and doing certain things that lost my scholarship. So I'm like, boom, I lost scholarships. So now I got my own apartment and I'm working jobs and paying that off. And one day I went back home, I lost all my scholarships. And I was like, yo, if I don't use this opportunity right now that I have, it might not come back, or I might get lost in the sauce. I might get lost in the hood. And there's nothing wrong with your hood, but it's just the hood mentality or the hood exposure. So one day I was like, yo, you know what? I can become a personal trainer. I've been in fitness, I've played sports, I can do it. So I just started reading up on it, and then I said, how do I become a trainer? And I started saying, hey, you want to get workout? I did the whole certification thing, and then I said, boom, you want to work out? I'm going to come to you and I'm going to bring my equipment. And you're like, oh, that's innovative, Ed. You think it's innovative? I was only doing it because I have no gym.
Yeah.
So I was being resourceful. So I was just being resourceful with what I got, but I had a different exposure because I knew this is possible now, right? So I'm in college. So I started with college students and an Instagram profile. And then I started to just teach what I learned from playing from middle school to high school sports. So technically I had 8 years experience. You had 8 years working out in the gym, running, doing high knees and doing stretches. So you think right now, I have no experience in anything, but analyze back to see the options that you were supposed to be given as a black male and see if everything that you went through are not assets to you applying them in a different way. So what does that mean? You're an athlete. Okay, you could use your body. How many professions have to do with health? Health is a billion-dollar industry. You can get in any facets of health and impact people. You could start with what you can do. If you can just teach people how to be the best possible running back, or how to work out to be a better D-line, or how to jump better by using some of these techniques that you learn in high school, that's already something you can do in sports. And as you go on, you're going to find teachers that's going to teach you the things you haven't learned. So that's how my journey went. So you're like, yo, okay, I got that. That's in sports. What was another option? I said, they said, you're going to go to jail. Well, what correlates with going to jail? Well, being in the street. You're like, what is being in the street? Well, doing street things. You're like, what is doing street things? You know what that is. So whatever it is, it's business. Really, it's commerce, right? You got industry, you got all types of industries that controls, that just operates based on supply and demand. And their goal is not to make anybody feel better. Some of these industries, they're actually to keep you hooked and to make your life get worse. And all the techniques you've learned to build up clientele and market and do everything you learn is business. You take that, you put it into your business structure, your mentality, your hustle. You use the limitations set against you as opportunities to upset anything that they said that they casted upon you, right? Sometimes they say you're going to be a vagabond, right? You don't take that mentality and you keep it in your head. You say, yo, I'm going to use my drive to actually not wander from place to place, but see city to city, country to country. You know, like, yo, you're going to be a vagabond. I'm wandering from place to place. Well, you know what? I am wandering. I'm traveling from state to state, talking to all types of people all around the world and impacting their lives. So you can use whatever rocks that were sent against you to build the staircase to where you want to be. And then you say, yo, how do I prevent going to the graveyard? Well, I wish I can give you one solution, but I can't, because it is crazy out here. There are like multiple ways that things can go wrong to get taken out. There are facets attacking us from all points. We are, like, as a Black man, you are literally a target. And yo, I'm not saying that to incite fear, incite anxiety in your body, and you can feel anger because of it. But I'm just saying that to allow you to see the reality of it. But at the same time that you are a target, you are also the person who can set the target. So you're like, what does that mean? Well, if I'm a target, you think I'm going to focus on all the arrows that's going to be shot at me, all the people going to look at me and judge me, or my hair is away, or I'm just walking down the street, somebody crosses over, and I'm like, yo, I care more about your safety than your demise. Like, it would be better for you to talk to me than to not talk to me, but I'm Black. Okay. So the person go across. I mean, I experience this every day running down the street. So you're like, yo, how do I prevent from getting... Well, you can't stop yourself from being a target because you can't go and bleach your skin, right? I wouldn't suggest it, at least, but what you can do is set targets. So every day I don't think about how many ways I can get taken out. I figure ways to take myself in, and how do I take what's available for me as a king here on this planet. So I just seek to create. So if you let your dreams be buried inside of you, being afraid that you might get, then you already died, because all the dreams and ability is going to go to the graveyard with you. So don't let the fear of death stop you from actually achieving your full potential.
Yes, that's powerful. So what do you think are like the biggest challenges that Black men face, and how do we begin to overcome them? Like, just from childhood up, like, you've already been put into a box. They've already set to say, okay, well, you're going to be the most feared person on the planet. We talked about not having that, mental mindset, but like, for you, your experience is like, what are the biggest challenges? Because now it's like we're seeing, suicide rates go up in Black youth. Our men are, 50% of them, of the population of Black men is incarcerated in jail. They're absentee fathers. They're struggling, to just even survival, basic, living things. So like, how do we overcome that narrative? What are some of the main challenges, and what are some solutions, active solutions now towards those things?
Well, I'm going to name a couple of challenges that I see that really are holding, I would say, their ties that obstruct progress. So first, I'd say ancestral ties. Ancestral meaning the drama passed down through the trauma. So when we're born, we just got all of these traits, and there are certain pains that we repeat that have a lot to do with our ancestors. So is the drama that's because of the trauma? That's because of the, let's say, one parent, or one parent was in your life, another parent wasn't, or you had both parents but something went wrong, or just generations before you. So I'd say that's one tie. And then you have another one, the over-sexualization of males in general, females, Black males, everybody. So everybody is getting over-sexualized. Now, I watch TV shows now to study them, but they're also sort of entertaining, some of them are funny, but they're all very sexual now. And they have no filter, like literally. So I realized that not only are they like that, but there's also different facets of what you see. You're not just seeing just male, female. You're seeing different female, female, male, male, different interactions. So when you're seeing those, sometimes there's a mixture in the different interactions where the scenes are switching from male, female, male, 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 female, male, male, or female attraction. So let's say 16-year-olds are watching a show like that. It's easier to not only to over-sexualize them, to get them to think about sex and make sex the primary target of their lives, but to also confuse them on what will bring pleasure to them and what their sexuality is about, or whatever, So that is an issue, because the media, as we watch it, is really tainting our minds. And I realized my own programming, and I'm like, yo, that's deep. So another thing that leads into how we treat Black women, which then how we treat ourselves. So you're like, hey, what's another thing that Black men or men in general are growing through? Well, as a man, I realized that the lowest self-worth on the planet is masked by testosterone as being a man. And that's self-worth. And then we as men, some men, I'd say a lot of men don't notice it, but I want you to really notice what I'm saying. Don't have a high self-worth as it relates to relationships, or the people or the women that they interact with, of how they interact with them, because they got this pseudo concept of being dominant. Right. So what do you mean by pseudo concept of being dominant? So if I get a lot of females, a lot of women that are my partners, then I'm the dog. I'm top. Like, yo, I get kudos. But the truth is, you're not seeing your value as a man, right? Because not only you're definitely not seeing a woman's worth, and I can get into that. But I empower women 98% every day, and men. But I want to say this: as a man, you're thinking, yo, I can be whoever I want, get my body count up. That's going to make me the boss. That's going to make me the man. But you also don't realize that you're giving your energy to anybody just for the exchange of sex, not for a connection, not for a relationship, but it's just an exchange. So in doing that, you can lose a piece of yourself, and your ambition, your drive goes down with it. So you spend a lot of your time chasing what they say, I'm going to say the point term, chasing chicks, right? Or trying to put down, or trying to run game. So as you continue doing that every day, that's time that you could be spending on developing yourself, learning to love yourself, learning to breathe and meditate, learning like, am I okay right now? What are the traumas that's bringing up the dramas in my life? Hey, what food am I eating? Did I run today? When was the last time I made sure that I got all the nutrients that I need? So you got those things. So one of the major reasons why men fell, according to Napoleon Hill, and his study that he did with a bunch of successful and unsuccessful men, is because of their sexual desire. They found out men who keep their seed and don't place it everywhere just for enjoyment, but place it on their craft, as in they only plant seeds with their work, they tend to become more successful by 30, 40, because they wasn't out there chasing and being a hungry ghost. Okay, so I'm giving it to you in a way where, it's hard on, like, you're like, that's bad. I'm not saying it's bad or good. I'm just saying these are some challenges that we're not even seeing as challenges, but they are really thing. And then that affects how you even see women. Like, do you see women as other beings that can help create great things in the world, which I don't know who creates better than women. They have a womb. I mean, that should tell you about creativity and everything in the world. Like, who creates Mother Nature? Duh. So how do you see another woman? Because you could be missing up on your opportunities, not just in a relational terms, as in a relationship, but just business partners or employees, or just treating a woman like a queen, or seeing them as a being and not something that you can prey upon. Though it's a hard message to hear, and you might want to turn this off and don't like the holistic motivator. By doing that, you're going to open up so much more opportunities. And then now you're going to start to see the women that was always there, who you can build your tribe with, you can build your empire with. Because at the end of the day, we're all looking for that woman who's not going to cheat and lie to us and play us, because, it's a game and both men and women are playing it. So this isn't a blame game. It's just, hey, how do I look within myself and see how are my choices affecting my own life? There are a lot of other challenges. We're not eating properly. We're eating really badly. We have way too much testosterone. Pretty much, we're way too much testosterone. As in, we're eating it from all the foods, pumped, and then we walk around with this personality of being so tough and grandeur and macho man. And you see, I'm not like that anymore. I let down my guard, but I didn't let down my guard. I'm actually more in charge by letting down my guard. So by being just myself and being chill and being relaxed and expressing myself as I am, not being limiting to like being a certain type of way, I freed myself. So I'd say freeing yourself from just wanting to be like the toughest, but just understanding that there's another way to be tough. It's just mental.
Stereotypical role of a male.
I can go on and on, so I just want to make sure I stop and allow you to ask questions. Sorry.
Good. No problem. My next question was like, what do you feel like men, like the guidance men need to have as they're, going from childhood to adolescence to adulthood? Like, what type of things are we lacking in guiding, our young males that they they need to be able to navigate and, like you said, have these different types of focuses, where it's not just, oh, I'm a dude, I'm swole, I'm gonna go get girls, I'm gonna get some money, like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
How do we better guide the men in our communities?
I'd say usually when you don't have a father figure in your life who that made you feel safe, nurtured, not just in this physical sense, but in the mental sense, you tend to not have a sense of direction, and you put up a wall to be strong, but you're not necessarily strong within as much as you can be, because that wall, which is serve as strength, is also serving as a barrier, as something that blocks people from coming in. So what that happens is anybody that resembles your father, in a sense, that if you don't have a good relationship, they become an enemy and you hate them, and it's hard for you to even learn from them or gain insight, or even there's two ways to learn from what not to do and what to do.
Right.
You haven't learned to, how can I learn from this person so that I can heal from the pains of my father? So, and also, how can I go directly to my father and heal, right? So these are some things that even myself is working on. Like, I have my father in my life, working on, I need to work on better nurturing the relationship and making sure that there is a better bond. So you're like, why is that important? Well, that's important because it's gonna mean a lot on how you relate to all types of different people in the world, from male and female, from how you treat your fellow man to your fellow woman, from how your teachers interact with you and how others interact with you. So first, I would say is find a way to heal from your father traumas or the miscommunications. Have those communications. Right. This is something I'm desiring, I'm working on, but not actually doing. So actually do that.
I think that's a very interesting point, because I was reading an article and they said that they had young men in a correctional, it was I think maybe like a juvenile facility, and the way they responded to the female correction officers, they were like, yes, ma'am, when they gave an instruction, but then when they had the male ones, it was like always a fight. So I think that's very interesting. Saying that, saying
that's deep.
Yeah, it's like, it was always a fight. It was like you said, you put up that blockage, and now that's how you interact with everybody, instead of realizing that's a wound to heal,
That is so deep. I think we must always remember that personality traits of others that meet the boxes of the people we know, love, does not mean that they're them. So somebody could be highly demanding, and then your father was highly demanding and you hated that, and then now you regret, you were like, no, don't talk to me like that. And then now, let's say your mother could have been highly demanding as well, but you knew it was for your safety. You learned how to cope and love her because she loved you. And then now, any woman figure that's highly demanding, you learn to shun, or like, okay, I got you, I'm not gonna do it, because you feel like it's your mom again, right? It's your mom. So now that's stuck in your mind. So you're actually seeing that, and that's how you relate to women like that. Or it can be the opposite, where you go completely against it, where you curse and have no value. Could have been traits of your father or multiple examples. So psychology is really deep. So study psych. It will click a lot of things for you. And if you don't study it, then listen to people that talk about it. Like, I talk about it, but I need to see you watching the live videos daily on Ed Talks. So it's those are the things. That's some of the ways that we learn. building communities, and stop making it a taboo topic to talk about stuff like this in your home with your homeboys. Like when you are with homeboys, make sure that the conversation you have, you got to look at different facets, right? I like to bring about different perspective when it comes to all these different subjects. Just like I'm vouching for women on the internet, I vouch for women in real life, which means I'm also, saying, yo, you got to give them the benefit of the doubt, understanding the trauma. Like, bro, I understand. Like, yo, some are actually doing this, but not all. You got it. So it's just like these conversations must be talked about.
Right.
And it must not be one-sided of the blame shame game that we always play.
And why do you think like that's something that's so, not talked about? Like Black men don't talk about their healing or their trauma or things that they need to evolve from. It was like, yeah, this happened. I'm a man, so it is what it is, Why do you think that's like so taboo for men to just be expressive about their needs?
I think it's all in the culture.
Oh. Let's see. I'm going to wait for him to come back on. What do you guys think that are viewing? What are some things that you think that, contribute to male mental healing in the community? Drop your comments. All right, so you're back. Awesome.
Yes, I am back. Totally sorry about that, everybody. But I was saying that. What was the question again? I just got distracted.
The question was, why do you think it's so taboo for men to talk about their needs in terms of like healing and even like just, basic needs, like, I need a mentor. Like, why is it so difficult for men, or seemingly difficult for men, to communicate their needs of what they need in terms of, expressing traumas, expressing pain and hurt and anguish and things that they need to recognize to heal from? And then just even going beyond that, just like what they need out of relationships, what they need out of, just things in life. Why is that such a thing that's not discussed?
Why is it not discussed? Well, not just men, but both men and women. Putting your feelings into words without knowing the words to put your feelings into can be really hard to do. So when you want to put feelings into words and you don't know the words to put your feelings into, then it's pretty hard to do. And what we normally just do is we put our feelings towards anger, and we get really angry because we feel like if they see I'm angry, then they know that there's an emotional need or need that's not met. They're going to tend to that need. So we often do replace every emotion with anger. We don't say like, yo, when was the last time you literally said to your, like, for instance, I'm going to tell you something I said to my friend, another Black male, my friend, my homeboy. And we're like, I got upset because I feel like you always coming at me this way when I'm just trying to help you out with this. It didn't need for that much energy. And he's like, yo, you think I'm getting mad, but this is just how I'm communicating with you. And I'm like, oh, but sometimes I just feel like you be super aggressive. Like, yo, are you being like super angry right now? Like, why are you flipping out or something? But there's no flipping out in this other person's mind. They're just expressing themselves. Like I said, anger is emotion that's expressed for other emotion. So putting your feelings into words, it takes courage to do that. And it takes courage to share that. And the society, we've been programmed not to, so we're not gonna want to. Plus, there are narcissists and psychopaths. There are people with malintents that are going to use your information that you shared with them and use it against you. Now you're like, why look at that pessimistic pessimistic point of view. Well, the glass is also half empty just as much as half full. So somebody can throw your skeletons back at you to try to kill you, trying to turn you into a skeleton. People out there do that. So that's another reason why people are feared to share their emotions or their experiences. And another thing is people also judge you and limit, and you may say, people think that people judge and limit them from opportunities. I'm going to say it like that. Not that people judge you and limit you from opportunities. There are always going to be people who judge you trying to close doors. That's a fact of life. It's not simply because of what you shared. There are always going to be those people. But we think that as soon as that we share our emotions, that people are going to shun us away and judge us and not give us opportunities. But the reality of it is there are always those types of people. But we don't focus on, like I said, what's coming after us. We're focused on what we're going after. By sharing that, we're going after healing. We're going after not just healing ourselves, but helping others. Everything I've shared about me is helping somebody. We think it's holding us back when we share, but it's actually pushing us forward because we've helped somebody move forward through their situation. Now they're going to actually want to support you. But like I said, life is not all shiny. It's also dark. But you got to understand that we're not focusing on darkness. Every day we're like, how do I shine today? Right. So I think those are some limitations that we can get past, and we could start with just close friends, family, or if we want a trusted advisor, coach, or a therapist, or a holistic doctor you can find. So there are multiple facets, different ways you can go about it.
Right. And I know we kind of, we're talking about multiple things, but I want to go back to how, we can, those things that, men need to be supported, to be heard, to be valued. Like, how do we start to facilitate that within our families, within ourselves? How do men facilitate that for themselves so they can begin to now reprogram and have a different paradigm and create transformation in their lives?
Learning to, how do we begin to learn to revalue ourselves? Well, first we have to disassociate from their history and find out our true history, and then start working on his or her story. Right? So disassociate from the history that you think you just a slave and you're nothing, no good, nobody who ain't never gonna achieve anything. Whatever history that you read in the books that showed that history may repeat over time, just stop believing in that history. Study your true history. Now start to make your own history. Now you start to make your own history when you start to create. When you don't just read Socrates, but you express yourself like Socrates. Like, for instance, I used to look at motivational speakers and coaches, and I used to always want to be like them, right? I always wanted to speak on stages like they were. I didn't realize that as I learned from them, that I was going to grow to develop my own way of communication and my own style, my own swag, my own way to have a heart-to-heart conversation with you even when you're not here, just by being myself. Right. So now I realized that with my true history, I started to share my story, started to stop limiting myself back and express myself, because most people are not healing. Black men in America are not healing because they're not participating in their own healing. Right. So even when we fight for the initiatives, the laws, or the shifts that's going to change our people or change the lives of our people, do we actually take advantage of the bills that come out, the funds, or whatever it is, the health and whatever it is that we need to prosper? Do we take advantage of it when it does come out? Are we participating in the healing? So there's a black mental health movement. I mean, a number one cancer that men get by the time after 50, some earlier, prostate. So, I mean, there are opportunities. I mean, I spent months with Dr. Love when he talked about exactly what people can do And there are a lot of people who are not gonna go and find an opportunity. They're not participating in their own healing, right? So you can have everything available for you, but you got to seek it out. Like I tell people to text me 561-510-9605, 561-510-9605. I tell people to text me the word holistic, and I'm gonna send you a text message every day, whether it's a meditation, an exercise, breathing, or just a podcast. That's gonna be some seeds. You don't have to click everything, but you could text back to some of them, but it's gonna empower you. That can be healing. It's like, yo, this is very motivational. But how many people will text 561-510-9605? Not much. So it's not that 561-510-9605. I was doing the whole commercial, but I was doing it fast. But I'm saying you got to participate in your own healing. For me, there are some things I need to heal from as I speak to you. I am not a guru. I am a guy in the process who I've acquired certain bits of wisdom and knowledge and ways to just communicate my experiences to you. And as I grow through it, I realized there are a lot of things I said I could have done, I should have done, I would have done, but I didn't do, simply because I was holding myself back. I didn't want to participate in the healing. I didn't want to put those feelings into words and talk about them. I didn't want to let down my guard. I was, like, I was already nonchalant. I was already quiet. So it was very easy for me to be what they say, mysterious. Some people used to describe me as mysterious. I was like, well, my personality is working for me. But then now I started to learn, just express yourself, be yourself. Don't hold back. Don't think about what they're thinking about you so much. Only focusing on who you are, your greatness, and share that every day. Like I walk into a room, I'm showing people these exercises, qigong. They're like, yo, what are you doing right now? You are bugging, dude. And I'm like, yo, I gotta show you this. This is gonna save your life. I'm telling people, yo, you got your juice today? Because as I learn about these things, I'm the guy running back and telling my fellow man, yo, there is life over there. You can hear right there. Yo, read this book. Right. And that's all I'm doing for people every day. And if you haven't, that's what I've been doing for the last 5 years on Instagram. So if that's all it starts with, be interested in this, start seeking the knowledge and start applying, become a learner, become a disciple of whatever that you're going for. Like, you got to follow the regimen and be disciplined. So that's all it is. And you're going to have things you're working through. You're not going to solve all your problems in one day.
Right. And I think that's powerful. And taking, recognizing, hey, this is what I need to change. And then following those steps and finding those people to help you change it. Okay, so before we go real quick, what is 5 things if you want to tell Black men to do today, start doing today, to just change, and get through everything that they need to get through? Because there's a lot.
Yeah, there is a lot. And 5 things. I'm not going to tell you to do anything that I'm not doing. Okay, so I'm going to tell you 5 things that I'm doing that's changed my life, that I'm going to be teaching people. I am teaching people that's going to change their lives. So number one thing I do is I journal.
So, all right, here we go. Can't hear you, but we can see you. Oh, I think we can hear you now. There we go.
All right. Now I know. So, journal. Get yourself a book, and you're going to write down. You don't want to tell people how you feel? Fine. Write it down. Now, putting it on paper has been beneficial. I have a library of journals, which means I have a couple volumes of books already written. So, in your journal, when you start the day, start with an intention, a schedule on the right, On one column of the schedule, you're going to have scheduled, and then you're going to have actual right next to it. Scheduled and write actual right next to it. Put your entire schedule, write it down, and the first thing you do in the morning, part of your morning routine, which is going to be the next thing, is have a morning routine. And then on the bottom, personal development, audio, book. What are you going to watch to do to grow? Every day, you got to have something. I listen to a book every day. There is not a day that goes by that sometimes I don't listen to a book, but I listen to audio on YouTube. So it serves as the purpose. Personal development session, intention session, schedule session, and then on the next section is your task and your goals for the day, a checklist. You do that every morning, watch how your life transforms. So don't take my word for it. Take my lit present and future for it. So whatever you see, you're gonna know, oh, this works. And if you can say, oh, I grow because of this, I can be a testament to say that. Morning routine has been another thing that changed my life. I started at 6, I went to 5, then I went to 4:30, and then I tried 3:30. And I'm like, I'm crazy. I went back to 4:30. I was like, okay. Now I do about 5:30. I wake up at the same time. Sometimes I don't. Some weeks I lack, but I always plan myself. And through journaling, I know when I mess up. So I know when I stop doing the routine, I go back and I start over. And I can see sometimes I have a month lag or a week lag. It happens all the time. But I keep priming myself back. Journal, morning routine. And then now the third is going to be part of the second. And then in the morning routine is meditation. Meditation is going to be part of the second because in the morning, 5 a.m., when all the trees giving that good prana, go outside and no noise, no kids, no baby mama drama, nobody hitting you up, none of that. All right. So you get outside, you just do some breathing exercises, meditation. Now, you don't know how to do qigong yet? Well, you could sign up for the weekly class that I have on the weekends, theholisticmotivator.com. And you learn that. And you're like, okay, so have a meditation that you do. And you're like, okay, what's a quick way that I can think of meditation? Your inhale, which fills up your lungs like a balloon, is going to be feeling all that you're feeling. Your exhale, think of it of letting it go. Every time you feel all that you feel, let it go. All that you feel, let it go. All that you think, let it go and flow out of your head. And start that process over and over up until all that you feel becomes you're feeling everything now. You're feeling emotions and body and the earth and nature and the sun, and the rays and all that. And you're like, ooh, I feel really good. Meditation. So the fourth one, you're like, what should I do? Well, start juicing. I became a more of a juice activist, and I give Dr. Love props to that. And I started juicing every day now in team, juicing and team. And it's been changing my life. I don't eat up until after 11 a.m. So I do intermittent fasting and I juice during that time of that morning. And that helps me a whole lot because it's really been helping me. There was a time where I didn't do that, now I do that. So juice and have teas. So your remedies can be your teas. So your remedies should be your teas. So you should be looking all types of teas you can drink. So those are 4 components. Now you're like journal, morning routine, meditation, and the morning routine and the journal goes there, and then juicing goes throughout the day. And you're like, oh, what's the other component? You remember how I said part 1, make sure you grow? You have to become a seeker of knowledge, of wisdom. You must be willing to sacrifice your time and effort. You must be willing to work for free just to learn. And then once you learn it, don't be selfish in your learning, but share your learning. Now that's going to revolutionize your life. Like you might say, yo, what's the practical steps? Well, go get the practical steps. Go follow certain people. Go read certain books. Go to certain events. Build certain tribes. Build a different community. And I'm saying if you apply those things in your life, it's going to set the direction so much that you're gonna be prosperous in everything else. So that's the 5.
Awesome. Well, give thanks. Your information is below. Definitely text him to get those updates and check out his website. And we want to thank you for coming on the show just to share your experience and what has helped you to transform. So give thanks for that. All right. And so that's it for our show today. Thank y'all for tuning in. If you haven't done so already, be sure to like, subscribe, follow our channel, follow our social media pages. We're always bringing you new, fresh content. Remember, show times are now Sundays at 2, so make sure you check into our YouTube channel where you can get that reminder button for when we go live. And until then, you already know, family, be well, stay well, cultivate life.